So this is the device that I've made up. It's a piece of plywood along the bottom and another piece of plywood vertically with a runner in the bottom which sits onto the bedways of my lathe. I've put in a dowel, which is, this one's about 5.5 inches long, and I've just put a little strengthening piece in the back there. The critical thing is that you make sure that this is 90 degrees, so it's fairly accurate. And in addition to that, I've got another little piece here, similar thing, bit that runs in the bedways, a piece of plywood again, and that's cut to fit into there. Now the critical thing is that this edge of this little spacer here must be absolutely in line with the face of your chuck jaws. These are just the standard C jaws on here, so which is the chuck that I tend to use for most of my bowls, vases and boxes. This is the SC3 chuck, so make the plate up to sit flush, the edge of the plate flush with the edge of the jaws. And then you put your bowl on, and then all I do once the bowl's on there, I just slide this up to meet the bottom of the bowl. Now as you can see, I've got this set. Again, this needs to be the right length to meet with the your jaws in relationship to the joint at the bottom there. And for instance, if I push that up and that point of the dowel sits to the bottom of the bowl on the inside, that's showing me that I've got something like about 10-12 mil thickness in the bottom. And obviously the further I shape the bowl in the bottom, the further that would go in, until I can come down to about 5 or 6 mil for the bottom. But that depends what you want on your particular piece. So if I put the bowl onto the chuck, just so you can see it actually in place. So for instance, if I had that bowl on there, I could go down and drop that in, and I can see that I've got about 5-6 millimeters gap there, and that dowel is sitting on the bottom of the bowl. Now like I said, it's really important that you keep that nice and square. It's important that the front of this spacer is absolutely vertical with the face of the jaws. So if you use this, then there should be no reason why you would go through the bottom of the bowl. Now obviously you may have different chucks. I've got an Axminster chuck, so let me just take this one off. And my Axminster chuck, which I keep up on my board with on my chuck buddies. If you've not seen the Chuck Buddy range, then pop over to Steve at SK Crafts and onto his Made Me store, and you can see the whole range of Chuck Buddies. Absolutely fantastic pieces of kit. So there we go, that's the Buddy range that I've got on my tool wall at the just behind my lathe. You can see I've got most of my chuck jaws, face plates and chucks on the board, and I find it really useful and so much easier than scrambling around in drawers or on shelves to find the pieces you want. So really convenient, tidy, and looks really professional. So like I say, pop over to see what's available on the Buddy range. If you go on to Steve Cavell SK Crafts, and he's got a Made Me store where you can purchase them and take a look. There are more products being released every so often, so this is not the entire range, but it's a good starting point for most people, just to have somewhere to put their chucks and faceplates. So I'm very pleased with them, so take a look, and you might like to purchase some. So this is an Axminster chuck. It's quite an old one, but I have to use the adapter with it to mount it onto my record power lathe. But the same thing applies. I've made a spacer. Once again, I've just got Axminster on there, so I know it's this one. That goes up to the headstock again, and you wind that in, and as you can see again, it lines up with the point on the dowel. And same thing would apply if I put the if I put a bowl in there, which I'd probably use a bigger bowl. I tend to use this chuck for bigger bowls, but the same principle applies. As you pull it up, you can work your way down until you get the thickness of your bottom of your bowl or box or vase even. You can make this as long as you prefer. I've just made this 5.5 inches because I don't tend to do anything much deeper than that, but you could make that more. But as I say, I find it really useful, nice and easy to use, and fortunately I've not been through the bottom of a bowl since I've been using this. When I first started turning, I did go through the bottom of 2 bowls, so I had to do something, and I'll see Wayne the woodturner use this method, and I've adapted that to suit myself. So hopefully you found that interesting. If you did, please give it a like and a share, and if you've not subscribed to my channel, then you might like to consider subscribing. I do hope that this has been of some use. So until the next video, I'm going to say cheerio, and have a great week in your workshops, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.